Your name?
Chelsea Weathers.
So where are you from again?
I'm getting my doctorate at the University of Texas at Austin, so I've been there for a while.
Mm-hmm. What's your doctorate on?
I'm working on the exhibition history of Warhol's films, his cinema, from about 1963 through about 68.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how long have you been working on that?
Well, the actual writing a couple of years, but I've actually been studying Warhol since I was about 15.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the reason I got into art history. So.
Why are you in Tucson right now?
I'm in Tucson to present a paper at the Tucson Museum of Art for a symposium through the University of Arizona. So I'm going to present a paper on the Exploding Plastic Inevitable, which is Warhol's multimedia film light Velvet Underground extravaganza that he did mostly in 1966. So he traveled basically from New York to Chicago to California and some places on the East Coast with the Velvet Underground and all this multimedia stuff, sort of trying to blow people's minds. I realized that the Lonesome Cowboys is sort of a big part of one of my chapters in my dissertation. So it's like, and I'm actually, my dissertation kind of focuses more on the audiences of the films, not so much the actual production of the film. So I'm interested in how audiences, especially outside of New York, perceived Warhol, because he's so, it's almost like the factory is like this hermetically sealed place where what would be considered so crazy outside of New York is actually considered kind of normal within that realm. And so what happens when you take him out of New York and put him in somewhere like the desert of Arizona, you know? The Broder photographs especially sort of tended to confirm a lot of things that, I mean, there are a lot of verbal accounts of what happened in Tucson. You can visualize it, but you don't really know. Like how many people were there. There's a scene at the end of the rape scene in Lonesome Cowboys where Viva says, "Look at all those children, you know, they're shocked out of their minds," or something like that. And there's an account, the FBI actually watched the film and commented on that line that Viva said, and they said, the FBI file said there weren't any children in the scene, you know. So it's like the FBI didn't really get that there were tourists watching, and they couldn't figure out what the reference to the children was. And I was
well,
like,
actually, and we'll talk about this more later,
yeah.
but I know two of the children that were there that
Really?
day. Yeah.
Oh,
and
I want to talk to them.
one of them is Selena Littler, who his father, Charles Littler, who shot one of the films and founded Rancho Linda Vista, is around, and she's a great resource.
That's excellent.
And she talks about being really
so
ostracized from school after that point because they were the kids that are there during the
right,
year,
but
so.
it seems like what I'm interested in, and I would love to talk to her, is like these reactions that are presumed to be so scandalous. What was actually happening? You know?
Sure.
And so to have visual evidence of that is so nothing. I have never expected to see anything like that.
Can you give me some thoughts as far as this imagery and where? I mean, do you think this is work that the world should see? I mean, obviously, Warhol film critic, it's important to you, but.
Yeah. Well, I think in terms of Warhol's film practice, the post Chelsea Girls films, like when the Chelsea Girls becomes this huge commercial success, it starts getting distributed to mainstream theaters, and around that time, there's all these perceptions of him sort of turning on the camera, walking away, letting someone else do the work for him. And I think what these photos actually show is that he was actually very involved in what was going on. I think that is really significant. So definitely. Yeah.
Well, I had a question because I'm writing, we're trying to move this exhibition to New York.
Yeah.
And I was saying, amongst other things, how the Broder material raises the importance of this exhibition because it really gives, to me, an insight into the man. Because if you look at him filming, it's clear, it's not underexposed, it's not funky. He had a totally different agenda than Warhol, who was trying to do something else. And so I was wondering if you could tell me academically why Broder's documentation is important to understanding Warhol and his like filming scene. And I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah, he just asked me that actually. What I told him was that I think because the perception of Warhol post Chelsea Girls is that he sort of left his production up to other people, especially Paul Morrissey. There's not a lot of documentation about his actual involvement in the filmmaking process.
Oh, good. That's what I need.
Yeah.
So yes, this is a real big bridge for you for your writing.
No, absolutely. Like this is the kind of thing that I've been doing research, at the Warhol Museum at MoMA to find something that's obscure and that's actually you know, because there's obscure material that you can find everywhere, but like something that actually plugs into something that is very significant is actually pretty rare, I think.
Yeah.